Stop playing with us. Hey, all that DEI goofiness you talking about, man, stop playing. Give us our props. Stop messing with our history. The more you erase, the more we replace. I don't get why they so mad at us. Somebody said, why I got to be black excellence? Why not? Why not? Why can't I show these young black kids, girls, and guys a different side? Perception is everything. Showing these kids a different perception. How great is that? You know what's crazy? When Barack Obama became president, people were like, policy. I said, oh, whatever. You know what he did for me? He changed my perception. Because when I would travel the world had a certain perception of me as a black man. But when they saw, and if there's any indication that America is not the most incredible country in the world, and he came up in there with that suit, fly, you feel me? I felt good, and everybody felt good because they love what we do. I know y'all out there bullshitting right now, but y'all love us. Y'all love our music, and if y'all talking about DEI, then give some of our stuff back, like our R&B. Stop playing with us. Stop singing like us. Stop dancing like us. Give us our shit back. No, I'm just kidding.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time seeing me, or if it's your first time coming across my videos, kindly remember to push the subscribe button, share this video to your friends and your families. Also remember to give this video a thumbs up so that we grow as a family. So guys, today we have a topic that is really controversial. This topic has a lot of talks and is something that is really bothering the day-in lives of the Black Americans, or rather anyone that is black right now. Just to be specific, anyone that is black, this is a topic that really speaks a lot, and this topic today we need to discuss it with more maturity. So I'd like to hear your responses on the comments. What do you guys think about this? I think the lots of racism that is happening in the world is just because of the jealousy that is there between the white folks on the black excellency. Like, these guys never want to see the black community succeeding, doing anything that is a development to their lives. Hence, these many racism cases in the healthcare facilities, in day-in life activities. So guys, today I'm going to play you these videos. I would like you to pay so much attention to the videos that I'm going to play today, as I'm going to come back at the end with my commentaries. Thank you.
I'm not a politician, but I think we should all be prepared for just getting our business in order. I think we should be galvanizing, we should be sharing the codes amongst each other, and we should be supporting each other's businesses. And that way, it doesn't matter who's in office. We'll have our own buildings.
Expand the ecosystem.
Why not?
Absolutely.
That's what they do.
Even the racist wins when black people succeed going forward because GDP rises. We're having the wrong argument. In fact, we're arguing. There's no need to argue. There's not enough college-educated, successful white men to drive GDP. Unless you want to speak another language, we better figure out in the next 5 or 10 years that we're better together. Black people, you better be obsessed with education. It's not about love or hate anymore like in Dr. King's day. Today it's radical indifference. No one cares enough about you anymore to hate you. Private security, private roads, private families, private education, private transportation, private schools. We can go on and on and on. They've just separated themselves and said, yeah, y'all do as you like. You want to tear up your communities? You want to tear up your own lives? Knock yourselves out. You want to be like Cam? You want to be like me? Understand that 3,000 years before marriage was spiritual and God endowed it with spirituality, marriage was a business. When the breasts drop and the rear end drops and the looks go away, that's your business partner for life. Eagles don't fly in packs. You've never seen a flock of eagles. Buzzards love packs. Buzzards are low altitude birds. In fact, buzzards are insecure, so buzzards are always shooting at eagles. They have high confidence and low self-esteem. But a turkey is the worst kind of bird, because the turkey's got wings and can't fly. My second great-grandmother was a slave. My grandmother owned a shotgun shack in East St. Louis, taking care of her children. My mother owned 7 homes. I own 700. I'm not a genius. I'm just role modeling, and I know my history. You know, you give a kid a bank account in kindergarten with $100 in it, they're 75% more likely to graduate from college.
And what's your profession?
I am currently a labor and delivery registered nurse, and I am in school pursuing my FNP in a Doctor of Nursing Practice program.
Ooh. Mom, what's your profession?
I am the Executive Director of Next Level Community Development Center. I am a highly sought after administrator, grant writer, and strategist.
Facts. Dad, what's your profession?
I'm a director for a medical device pharmaceutical company.
Facts. Hey, Chad, what's your profession?
I'm a product owner for a water meter company.
Tight shit. Chase, what's your profession?
I'm an R&B singer and a nurse.
You know what they don't tell us? That some of the sharpest minds of the civil rights era weren't marching in front of the camera. They were building bridges behind the scenes. They were connecting Black struggles here with independence movements in Africa, exposing America's hypocrisy at the height of the Cold War. Meet Alpheus Hunton. Born in Atlanta in 1903, raised in New York. He wasn't just an academic. He taught English at Howard University. And while other professors stayed safe, Hunton was bold enough to tell his students, "Your freedom is tied to Africa's freedom." He worked with the Council on African American Affairs alongside Paul Robeson and W.E.B. Du Bois, organizations the government tried to smear as communist fronts because they dared to support African liberation movements while Jim Crow was still running this country. He wrote constantly, pushing out pamphlets, reports, essays, laying bare how colonialism abroad and racism at home were two sides of the same coin. In 1941, when the Council on African Affairs was thriving, Hunton became its education director. But by the 1950s, the FBI had him under constant watch. He was jailed for refusing to hand over records. He lost his Howard job. His reputation was trashed. And still, he kept organizing, kept writing, kept teaching Black people that our fight wasn't just about buses and lunch counters. It was global. Hunton eventually left the U.S., working in Ghana and later Zambia, spending his last year supporting African independence on the ground. Think about that. A Black professor, stripped of his career in America, finding refuge in Africa because this country couldn't stomach his truth. So no, the civil rights movement wasn't just about integration. He taught us that the struggle was bigger than borders. And that's exactly why they tried to erase him. Say his name, Alpheus Hunton.
When you understand that the first humans to ever walk this planet were Black, you can understand where white fragility, but also white supremacy comes from. Any oppression comes from a fear of not being good enough, a fear of competition. And when you understand that the blueprint is literally a Black woman, a Black man, you can understand why white people have felt the need to conquer people of color's land, because Black people are closer to the DNA makeup of the original people to be here on Earth than white people are.
I'm not making this video to start a race war. I'm making this video because I think one of the biggest reasons this country keeps ripping itself apart is because people have forgotten how to listen to pain without making it about themselves. And from the outside looking in, something I've noticed over and over again is that a lot of Black people are not asking to be worshipped. They're not asking for pity. They're not asking for special treatment. A lot of the time, most of the time, they're just trying to explain what life has felt like for them and their families. And somehow, the second those conversations start, everything turns into a debate. No listening, no understanding, no curiosity, a debate. Are you sure it was racism? Well, that happens to everybody. Just get over it. My family struggled too. You're playing victim. You're dividing people. That was a long time ago. Just work harder. And it's like, damn. Can somebody speak about pain without immediately being cross-examined like they're in...
Black excellence will always and forever irritate the absolute core of racist. And it's not because we aren't talented and intelligent. It's because it exposes where they are faltering within themselves. And when you don't walk by a certain script of what they feel is acceptable as far as being a Negro, a Black person in this country, then they start doing things like bashing what is actually happening to make you feel diminished within yourself. We see this playing out with Deion and his two children, Deion Sanders. Shador Sanders should have been he should have been first round draft pick. That boy did everything right. And now I see people laughing and saying, well, he going on to the Browns and all of that. He's in the NFL and he is going to other teams that chose not to. They will regret that. And it's because you don't see Dion around here buck dancing. Then they downplaying the absolute monster hit that is the movie Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Absolutely masterfully done. I went to see it last night with my love, and we both enjoyed it. The juke scene was amazing, pulling in ancestors and those to come. That moved me to tears. And you want to try to downplay the greatness. And then you see Donald Trump. People like one beautiful pastor that I saw has been contacted by the Smithsonian for items that he donated to the museum because they're going to send it back to him. You can remove all these artifacts and things all you want, but the blood is in the ground and the ancestors will be heard. You can't erase. You can try. And I really want for us as a people to lean further into our own tradition of oral tradition. That is how we kept our stories going all this long time. That is how Orisha songs made it into to North and South America. It's through oral tradition. We sang the songs, we did the dances, we maintained community. But yeah, when you are at work and you feel like you're being attacked for no good reason, think about what your outputs are. You know, in the 48 Law of Power, you know, all the guys that went to prison before, whatever, they read that book. That's like their Bible. But anyway, a guy I used to date, I was having issues at a job. And I'm like, yo, these people always something. He was like, never outshine the master. You outshining them people, and that's why they mad. What I'm supposed to do? Water myself down for them to feel comfortable? I think the freak not. But yeah, that's my spiel for today. Black excellence is a thorn in the side of white mediocrity, white imperialistic masculinist syndrome. Shout out to Janelle Hobson for coining that. And shout out to my godmother for teaching us that. It's the thorn in the side of that. So yeah. The only remedy is for us not to be great. And that's just not going to happen as we're it's too encoded in us. It's just too encoded. So anyway.
Child, imagine having a head start and you still losing. But here's the plot twist. You think you winning. My grandma would say, bless their little hearts. Because white supremacy really think it's winning. But baby, they made the people that's going to beat it. Now stick with me. You ever work out with weights on, put on a weighted vest and ran laps? That's what racism did. Put weights on our backs, weights on our ankles for generations. But you know what happens when you work out with weights or a weighted vest? Oh, y'all know. It makes you stronger, skilled, faster, resilient. Baby, the weights didn't break us. They trained us. Baby, they've been sitting back with a 400-year head start, kicking their legs up, thinking mediocre is a trophy. Meanwhile, we've been in the trenches, baby, getting it out the mud, creating, learning, building. And baby, that's why our excellence is a transferable skill. That's why we keep showing up better, smarter, louder. And baby, this ain't just talk. Look at the wealth gap. That's proof right there. The system is stacked. But despite that, Black entrepreneurship is still growing. Black businesses are still fueling communities. Our art, our music, and culture. And the world, baby, they still trying to catch up. Child, they rig the rules, they cheat, they rewrite history, and they still losing. Bless their little hearts. You got Karens and Kens watching everything we do like it's a mystery. It ain't no mystery. It's resilience. It's resistance, love, family, community. That's Black culture. That's Black excellence. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have to keep those vests on for a little longer. 'Cause baby, the race ain't over. But they done messed up. They underestimated us. Big mistake. Black history is the movement. Every day. Happy Black History 360.
We are the only people that came to America that became Americans because we had to completely recreate ourselves. And it's a fascinating history. We did that mostly with song. And it's one of the reasons that we still dominate. No matter what else it is, the Black American sound dominates. Everybody wants to sound like us. They don't want to look like us most of the time, but they want to sound like
Well,
us.
I think secretly, as people tan, they do want to look like us.
Well, you know, you may have a point there.
Right?
Yeah.
They definitely want to dress like us.
Oh, definitely.
And they speak like us.
Yeah.
You know, you've been able to impact a lot of the younger generation, especially in this hip hop culture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your name right now is revered. You know, and some of the greatest artists on this planet today, like a Kanye West, even mentioned you.
You know, I'll never forget the day a white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day. That we had a black president, and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems, the root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that fucking shit, that's ruined us. It's ruined white people, and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we try will fail. It's dysfunctional and it's toxic, and Trump and this regime is the perfect proof of all that shit. How we got in this fucking mess? White people's bullshit. White people's racist fucking bullshit.
I think the real reason that some white people get upset or like don't understand when they see black people in spaces that they're in, or black people in positions of authority or advancing and things like that, the reason that they relate it to like, well, it must be like you're getting something that you're not qualified for, like it is racism, but there's another underlying part of that, and it really boils down to the fact that they can't fathom a reality where you advance in life, where you get a position, where you move up at all without stealing something or stepping on somebody or exploiting somebody. They can't, in their brain, they don't have any recall within their collective history of any time period where they've been able to build without stealing or massacring or doing something to somebody else. So like when they see another group of people, whether that be black people or POC, in positions that they feel like, well, no, that's my position. And when they see them, they think that, well, you couldn't have got it any other way besides taking it from somebody and like stealing it. There's no way you actually worked for it, because in their history and present day, they don't have, even within the country itself, standing up the United States, they don't have any like precedent of like existing, like moving up, like building without taking something from somebody, without stealing. Like they have no creativity in their mind. Well, not even creativity, they have no recall. and lack the imagination to imagine that being a possibility. So when they see a black person or a POC in spaces and things like that, it's got to be the DEI thing, even though it don't make sense. That's the only thing they have in their brain. It's like the only way you able to make it, the only way I know you make it in this world is by stealing stuff and like, you know, exploiting and like taking things away from people that belong to them. Take things, and that's it. That's all they got. So yeah, it's the racism, of course, but it's also there's another part of that psychologically where they just don't have the recall. There's no precedent set yet, and they refuse. I don't know, to set a precedent where they can, you know, advance, evolve without exploiting or stealing from other people across the globe and right next door. You know, so that's it. They just can't understand in their brain and just don't connect. Like, how are you able to make it as a black person? And then to look at a black person and know like black people's history of subjugation and oppression, and then see you actually moving, they're like, no, there's absolutely no how you fucking doing that. Blows their brain. So they had to come up with something, and the only thing they come up is what they were able to do since the beginning of days. And by the way, yes, that is stealing from other people, taking all the things, culture, resources, land. That's it. That's all they have, unfortunately for them, because eventually you keep resting on the fact you got to steal while other people making advancements on their own, pulling their own selves up by the bootstraps, even without fucking boots, making the boots themselves. Come day where you don't even know how to make boots. You don't know how to do anything. Okay, y'all.
I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
They don't get to be the leader.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, you know, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, like, how much did white Americans actually do in all of that time? If we are to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by like nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges. And like, to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you like totally deny, the existence of black people for whom success is like second nature when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it, I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest black excellence? Like, what will help you? And for that, I would suggest like a lot of therapy, like a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history. Yeah, maybe? Okay, bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that anytime the black folks, or rather the black community, are celebrating their excellency, or rather their achievements, it always becomes something to talk about, or rather it becomes something that really makes many communities lose their mind. And this is something that is really bothering, or rather fascinating, I'd say so. Because why is it that when the black communities start talking about their achievements, celebrating their success, culture, wealth, why is it always that whenever they are celebrating their education status, or just pure black excellency, why is it always a bother to many of these people? Why do people end up starting conversations? And starting online chats people start losing their minds about this. You will see people on comments despising people who have the black community, who have excelled in something. The economy right now, yeah, we'll see people who are really fighting on the comments, or rather fighting to diminish the black community. Why is it so? While other communities, what's something that is really crazy, other communities will go ahead and celebrate their excellencies without getting any fights online. But when it comes to the black community, this happens every single time. Why is it so? So, ladies and gentlemen, anytime or any second the black community is out there starting to uplift themselves, suddenly people call it divisive, or they start saying it's the black community just overdoing themselves, yeah? Overdoing what they always see is what they perceive, yeah? They always see the black community is always overdoing. And this is something that really brings too many questions. Like, how is celebrating your culture, yeah, and your accomplishments a problem to people? How? When you're celebrating something that you've achieved, it becomes issue, or rather it becomes a debate for other communities. That's something that I've never understood, because whenever the black communities are outside here celebrating, it's always a debate. You will never lack a big debate under that. Yeah. And something that is really worrying is because for generations, the black success has always been minimized, or rather, it has always been ignored. And when it is time to do that, it is suddenly an issue, or it becomes a straight up attack. Yeah. So when now people celebrate it, it hits so different. And this is something that is really depicting the worry in the society right now. Yeah. So guys, another thing that I would like to say is black excellency is just not about money. Yeah. It's about overcoming what the black people went through on the powers of the white. Because we all know that whites like control over people, or rather they like having control over day in activities in life, hence having the white supremacy. Yeah, they like to be perceived as the higher beings. That's what they like. Yeah, so suddenly it's never about representation. It's about who is mightier than who, which is so wrong. Yeah. This is about black people being able to overcome the systemic racism, the systemic differences, perceiving the black community as the minimum, or rather the lower people. Yeah. That's why people connect automatically, or rather this is how people connect emotionally. So ladies and gentlemen, I would really like to know your comments on this topic. Yeah, do you think that the white people are really jealous because of our excellency, or do you think that this racism that is starting out here, or this racism that is taking part outside the world, is because of the jealousy that is there among the white folks because of our excellency, us trying to show them that we are doing it well but without them. Yeah, let's have this conversation, guys, because this is going to be a really wild talk. Yeah, to get to an understanding, to get to know why this is really happening. Why do the white folks really dislike our achievements, or rather our excellency? So guys, if you want more videos on such topics, or rather more conversations on matters that really affect our day-in lives, I would like you to subscribe to this channel and also give this video a thumbs up, and also remember to share it around so that we grow up as a family. Thank you, and catch you on the next video.